Hey everyone, Jedi64 here, and welcome back to another video. And today I'm going to be talking about the first 3 episodes of Star Wars Andor. The first 3 episodes just aired, and I'm very excited to talk about it because, oh boy, this season is off to a very intense but very exciting start. So without further ado, let us start talking about it because this is going to be a much longer video. So here we go. All right, so I love how the first episode we just get right into it. Like there's just no like messing around. Like we just get right into the action of like Cassian stealing the TIE fighter. Like, I love how after he talks to the spy in, like, the ranks, he, like, just goes in, shoots the droid, and then just hijacks the TIE fighter. The whole scene is just so well made. Like, the music, the action, like, I love the TIE fighter itself. Like, it just is such a cool design. Like, I just love it. And I like how it has, like, a holographic display up front. So it's, like, for, like, the targeting system. Like, it's just so cool. I also love how we see that trooper from Solo again. Like, it felt so good to see that trooper again, and like, because we have not seen this trooper since like Solo: A Star Wars Story, so it was very cool to get to see this guy again. I loved him stealing the Tie Fighter, him like just flying through the canyon, just like a pinball, just hitting the sides of the canyon. Him just escaping the Tie Fighters, and like, it's just such a well-made sequence. I love it. And I love the TIE fighters that are chasing Cassian, because, like, these are Inquisitor TIE fighters, or, well, they're not technically Inquisitor TIE fighters, they're just a very fancy version of a TIE fighter. So it's just very cool to see them in live action, because we've never actually seen these TIE fighters in live action before. So that's very cool. I love how Cassian shoots a missile, it causes, like, one of the icebergs to collapse, and he flies under, and the TIE fighters blow up behind him. Like, it's just a really great way to start the series. We then cut to Bix, who is having a nightmare about that one Imperial that tortured her in Season 1. So I like how she's having some PTSD about that, because it feels very realistic having that, because, you know, like, you don't go through something like that and then, like, come out okay. So yeah, so basically, Cassian's friends and, like, B2 are refugees on, like, a planet that's just full of wheat. Like, I love how the whole planet is just, like, a farming planet. It feels very Star Wars. I just really like it. We then cut to Sandrilla, which is Mon Mothma's home planet. So it's very cool to see like Mon Mothma's home planet because we've never seen it before. I like the how it's all just like rocks and stuff. Like it's a very cool planet. And I really like it. We see that Mon Mothma's daughter's wedding is about to begin, and like they're getting ready for like the ceremony and all that stuff, and like it's very cool. Like we see like Vel talking to I think our parents, but I don't really know. All I know is that we see that she's changed her hair, which is interesting because I think I preferred the blonde, but who cares? She then goes and talks to I don't remember this guy's name. All I know is that I'll get to it in a little bit, but basically he's not as trustworthy as Mon Mothma would have hoped. Basically, we then see her talk to Luthen, who's like, "Oh yeah, it's a surprise. That's why I'm here." When in reality, like he's basically helping like Skolden like deliver like an artifact for like a gift for the bride and groom. But we all know the real reason why Luthen is here to spy on Mon Mothma. We then cut back to Bix and the kid. I can't remember his name. They said it in the episode, but I just cannot remember it. Anyway, so we see an Imperial transport cruiser landing on the planet, where basically they're doing a inspection to try and find refugees and criminals. We then cut to Cassian, who lands on Yavin 4, which we don't see that until the end of the second episode, but it's very cool that this is Yavin 4. So basically, he lands here to like drop off the ship and pass it on to someone else to take forward. But long story short, he gets captured by like a bunch of rebels that are like stranded on the planet after an incident where like a bunch of their ships got stranded, and like now they're the only ones left on Yavin, and like they're all losing their minds, and they don't believe Cassian is not an Imperial. It's like, look at him. Of course you would think he's an Imperial. He's wearing an outfit. He stole a TIE fighter. What do you think? And then I'm so happy that we got to see Director Krennic just like right away. So that felt really good to see him again. Like, he's just such a great actor. So, like, he basically has a bunch of Imperials from all across the galaxy come here to discuss Dang it, what's it called again? I know this. What's it called? The Gorman massacre. Well, basically, they're not planning on massacring them quite yet. Basically, what's going on is there's like a very infinite resources that are on the planet, like spiders giving like infinite string for like clothing and stuff, and there's like a like mineral in the core of the planet that they want, but the Empire doesn't have that much great of a like presence on Gorman, so they're trying to figure out a way to basically take over the planet, which is why they have all of the Imperials here, so they can be like, yes, we're going to take over the planet and like drive out the populace. And they're like, why can't we just stage a national disaster or something, or like, and like it's just very cool. Anyway, we cut back to Cassian. He gets captured by these rebels that are basically like stuck here. They're part of the main rebellion, but they've lost their leadership, and they've like are stranded on Yavin, like, and basically have lost their freaking mind. We cut back to the Imperials, and basically they're discussing the rare mineral, like a synthetic calcite or something that's like in the core of the planet. But like the Gormans like aren't planning on giving them their like resource until like 3 years from now, but they aren't wanting to wait. So Cassian realizes that the rebels are part that this group of rebels is part of the rebellion, but they don't think Cassian is part of the rebellion, so like they still hold him hostage. We then see like a couple of people from like the like an organization that just spreads propaganda, and like if you don't know, the Empire closed the Gorman shipping lanes or something. So like they've already begun to kind of squeeze the Gorman's planet out. So they're basically, because like the Gorman massacre is going to play a huge part into this. Like Dedro Miro is like going to be a part of it, but she doesn't want to be a part of it. So like, oh yeah, we see that this one guy is talking about creating a new like armory somewhere. And like truth be told, like on the first season, I enjoy it more on a second rewatch. So I think with season 2, I'm going to like really enjoy it on like a second rewatch. But so far, like it's really good. I love seeing director Krennic and Dedra Miro interact together. I just felt like that was just a really cool scene. And I love how she's like, you need Gorman rebels so you can sneak in and do stuff. So like, but I like how she's hesitant to tell him this. Like, we can tell that she just doesn't want to be a part of this. It's just too much for her. Even though she literally tortured someone last season, but you know. We then see Mon Mothma's husband and like her daughter's fiance's father talking about like how much trouble like Mon Mothma's daughter is. Like Mon Mothma's husband is just really a douche, bit of a douche, y'all. So yeah, all things considered, like I hope he gets what's coming to him in season 2. So that'd be kind of interesting. We then see Mon Mothma talk to her friend, who is like, "Yes, I'm divorced with my wife. I'm no longer with her." Like, I think he wants to get with Mon Mothma by the end of this, but like Mon Mothma doesn't want to. So I don't know. We then see Mon Mothma's daughter run off because like basically like she's been trying to connect with her fiance, but she just can't because like she keeps trying to hold his hand, but he keeps pushing her away, and like Mon Mothma's just like, I'm so sorry, like 'cause she doesn't want this, but her hands were tied. She needed to get that money back into her account so the Empire would notice her. So it's just a very like dark and just sad moment. We then cut back to the rebels who are arguing about who is their leader and who's in charge here, where it eventually escalates and eventually some of the rebels start shooting each other and they have to run, and that's where episode 1 ends. Episode 2 picks up right where episode 1 ended, where we see the rebels are split off into two groups. There's one group in front of the TIE fighter and there's one group by the crashed ship. So basically they're trying to figure out how to get off the planet and who's in charge and all that. They keep firing at each other. They realize that there's a creature out there killing or taking the corpses and stuff and like causing trouble. We cut back to Dedra Miro and her boss on Coruscant back at the Imperial Security Bureau, And you can just tell she just does not want to be a part of the Gorman project. She's like, I thought about it all night. I don't want to be part of this. But like her boss is like, the decision's been made for you. There's no going back from that. And like I like how he's like, you've had almost 2 years to find an axis, and you've found nothing, showing that like she's still trying to find Luthen, but has had no luck in finding him, because he is a tricky guy. We cut back to Luthen and basically his partner, where she's like, I'm trying to make contact with Bix, but I can't get through from here. I need to get back to the shop because I can do more there. So she heads back while Luthen continues to set up like the gift that he and Skolden have put together. We see Mon Mothma talk to her husband, and you can tell they just have a very depressing, just toxic relationship. But there's nothing they can do. And it sucks because you can just tell that Mon Mothma knows this. She knows that she's setting up her daughter to end up in a relationship just like they are in, a very toxic one, but she has no choice. We cut back to the rebels who are running low on food. They basically are getting desperate, and yeah, things are not looking good. We cut back to the Bureau of Standards, I think, where we see Cyril is like talking to a new person, being like, "This place is more than meets the eye. If you, there's a place here for those who dare." And like he talks about how he like found corruption in like this institution that was stealing from the Empire, and like he got a promotion. I like that we see his confidence is back, and he feels a lot more compelling in this season already. We see the kid falling in love with one of the locals on the planet with all the wheat, but we know he can't stay there because they need to start packing to leave because the Empire is going to find them. We then see, oh boy, this bastard. I say bastard because I'll get to it in a minute. The most controversial scene, but I'll get to it. Basically, he starts flirting with Bix, and she's like, "No, go away." And like, he eventually goes away, and then, like I said, I'll get to it. But anyway, we see Mon Mothma and Vel and the rest of the Mon Mothma family hiking to like a traditional spot or something, and we see Vel is talking to Mon Mothma, being like, "Is your daughter really for this?" And we can like see Mon Mothma is just unsure, being like, "I don't know." And like, then we see like Vel is like, "Do you know where Cinta is?" And like, because like if you don't know, I'm pretty sure they're in love, but like Luthen won't tell her where she is, and we don't see her till the end of like episode 3, so we can see there's just some like tension where like we know like Vel is like from like Sandrilla and like just wants to stay away from the planet, which is very interesting. We cut back to the rebels on Yavin, where they're basically moving the TIE fighter, trying to align it up with where the other group of rebels are, so they can just blast them to hell. Just explosion. So yeah, all things considered, these rebels are dumb as hell. Like, they're trying to get off the planet. They don't believe Cassian's like... I'm so glad Cassian just later just up and leaves them to starve to death, because these rebels are just freaking idiots. But it just goes to show that without, like, a leadership, the rebellion just falls apart. We then see Seer and Dedro together, living together. Like, I'm so happy they got together, because, like, at the end of season 1, I was always thinking, I wish they kissed at the end of that last scene, so I'm really glad that they got together in season 2. We see that they're getting ready to have dinner with Seer's mom, and we see Seer is, like, not wanting to do that at all, because Seer's mom is a bit of a narcissist, and he's like, you want to just put off or something, and, like, Dedro's like, we can't cancel again, and, like, so yeah, it's just very funny and just very entertaining to watch. Because, like I said, I feel like Seer is a much more compelling character now, so I'm very excited to see where his story goes. We cut back to Mon Mothma's daughter's wedding reception. Or, well, not reception, it's like the pre-dinner or something. Where basically everyone's partying and stuff, getting ready. We then see Mon Mothma and her friend talking together, and we see that he's not that trustworthy. I don't fully understand it yet. It's like I said, I'll understand more of it on, like, rewatches and once the whole season comes together, but basically he's like, everyone seems to be happy with where they've ended up, and yet I'm here worried about everything I've risked for you. And he's like, the rebellion soured my investment. where it's like you can see he's just beginning to be very untrustworthy. So we see Mon Mothma is getting very nervous, and I love how like Luthen is just spying on them the whole time. He's like, "It's a good thing I came here." We cut back to Luthen's partner. She goes back. She goes back to the shop, and like, I just love the shop and all the Easter eggs in it. Like, it's just very cool. She basically then activates the transponder and begins to try and contact like Bix, only to realize that there's like a frequency blocking the planet, which that one Imperial guy mentioned. He's like, "Yeah, I know we keep everything tight-lipped," where he like shut off all the communications on the planet that Bix is on. We then see Mon Mothma and Luthen talking, where he's like, we can't let this go unresolved," and like it's just very intense because it's like I don't know what's gonna happen because like there's a time jump in between each episode, so like stuff is definitely going to go down. So like it's just very exciting. So yeah, I'm very excited to see where this plotline goes. We then see like Mon Mothma's douche husband give a speech about how life is depressing and boring, but that there will be like great moments of joy in between it all. Like it's a very good speech, but also a terrible speech at the same time, which I feel like kind of suits his character pretty good. So all things considered, a pretty good scene. I enjoyed it. We then cut back to the rebels, who are like, "All right, you know what? It's time for a peace treaty. This is going out of hand." So they all go there, they put down their weapons, and then they start doing like a version of rock, paper, scissors or something, just to try and figure out who's the leader or something. Cassian eventually sees his opportunity. He steals the gun, his blaster out of one of the compartments of the ship, and like basically escapes, and like one of the creatures attacks the rebels, and like Cassian just up and leaves. He like just steals the TIE fighter and just freaking bails. But then we get but then we realize that this is Yavin 4, and like this is like the base where the rebellion is. Like it hasn't been established that it's going to become the base yet, but like I don't know. I guess we're gonna find out more about this planet and like why those rebels were there, and like basically how Yavin 4 came to be the rebel base and stuff. So that'll be very interesting to see. So yeah, this is the end of episode 2, and now we go to episode 3. So episode 3 begins with Cassian trying to contact Luthen's shop for help. We see that he stole like a transponder from the ship back on Yavin, and basically is trying to get it to work, but it won't work. He tries everything, the ship goes out of control, so it's not going good. We cut back to Bix and like Cassian's friends on the wheat planet, and like we see that they're just having dinner together, but there's just still that looming presence of doom. Mon Mothma talks to her daughter before she gets married, and like we see that Mon Mothma is like, "You don't have to do this. You can say you're not ready for marriage," and we'll see it as a great moment of bravery. And she's like, almost like just kind of begging in a way, where she's just like, she just doesn't want to put her daughter through this. And like, we see that Mon Mothma's daughter is like very nervous, almost scared even, and like it's just a very emotional, well-made scene that I just really enjoyed. We then get the wedding ceremony where we see that like they get married, and we just see that there's not really any joy on like anyone's faces here. It's just very like professional. Like you can tell like no wonder Mon Mothma is like, "What makes you think I approve of that tradition?" So like it's just very interesting. So they get married, and then we cut back to Seer and Dedro getting ready to have dinner with Seer's mom, and like I just find I don't know, it's just it's just very funny. I don't know why. It's just so entertaining. Just so funny. We then see Seer's mom show up, and like and we get to see just how truly toxic she is. Like I like how all three of these individuals are just so toxic. Like it's just kind of entertaining. We then cut back to Cassian, who is like, "Is this the ship I was meant to steal? I'm in dead space. What do I do?" And like Luthen's partner is like, "Stay there and like don't go home." And like Cassian's like, "Why can't I go home?" Because he's like wanting to go see Bix and his friends, because like that's basically what's going on. And like it's interesting because like Bix is like, "My husband's off world," so it makes me think, are he and Bix together already? So I think that's what's going on here. So I hope it is, because I do want them to get together, because then we all know what'll happen to Bix, and it'll be like this very juicy Star Wars drama. Because I like how there's like this feeling of doom, and like the characters know they're doomed, but like they're still fighting anyway. So like it's just very interesting. So anyway, Cassian goes against her orders and gets in the TIE fighter and up and leaves, and then it's just very interesting. Cassian takes the TIE fighter, jumps to hyperspace, and bails to go rescue Bix and everyone else there. We then see that Dedro Miro is just taking no nonsense from Cyril's mother, being like, "Yeah, no, I'm not. This is not how this is going to work." And like she just straightens her out, and then they start to have a good time together. So that was interesting. That was entertaining. We then cut back to the after wedding where we see Dedro Skulden is presenting the gift that he and Luthen put together for the bride and groom. It basically is like an artifact that was taken by like the Arcartan invaders or something. I don't know. It's very interesting. They then start dancing, and like we see Mon Mothma talk to her friend, and like they're like, we'll talk together next week on Coruscant, and like, so I wonder, will the time jump skip over that, or will we see that? So I'm very interested to see that. We then see I forget what this guy's name is, but basically he talks to B, being like, "Listen, we're gonna leave you here. You'll be safe here." And like, I think they might just be writing like him out of the story, like the cute little droid, like, which makes me sad because I like him. Don't write him out of the story. At least give him an honorable death or something. So basically, B stays here, and like, yeah. So like at the end of like episode 3, Cassian and the other two escape, and like B just is left on the planet. So I guess he's either written out of the story entirely, or he's just no longer relevant or something. I don't know. It's very interesting. We then see the kid say goodbye to that one rebel lady, and like she sees that he has a blaster, and like gets all scared and nervous, and like it's very interesting. We then see the Imperials show up, and they like begin to like investigate and stuff, and like it's very intense. We see Luthen and Mon Mothma talk together, and like Mon Mothma's like, "I've known him since we were children," and Luthen is all like, "People fail. That's our weakness." And like, "What would you have done if I wasn't here? Would you have told me?" "Yes, I would have told you. You need protection." "What's that supposed to mean?" "It's a good thing you don't know." Like, it's just very intense, where it makes me think that like, if things go south, Luthen is prepared to kill Mon Mothma to protect the rebellion, which is very intense. And if that is true, that'd be very cool. And oh boy, here it is. This is the oh boy, how do I talk about this? Long story short, an Imperial. I don't know. This scene is very controversial. It's pretty freaking dark for a Star Wars show. I'm just kind of just gonna go through it, or I'll get back to it. But basically, long story short, like Cassian's friend goes to find the kid who wandered off to say goodbye to his girlfriend or something. Like he gets captured by the Empire, and then we cut back to this scene where we basically, boy, long story short, the Imperial officer tries to do something with her that is not okay in any shape or form. Bix fights him off, and she eventually kills her, and like, it's a very dark scene, honestly. Maybe a little too dark, honestly. It didn't bother me or anything, like, but like, I just feel like it's very dark. So like, it doesn't bother me at all, like the way they handled it, but like, I just feel like, I don't know. It's just very comes out of left field a little. It doesn't bother me at all. It's just surprising, I guess. Like I know for a lot of people it's going to like be very off-putting and like just very controversial, and like I don't know. I feel like all things considered, they probably should not have included that in this show. Like it doesn't really do anything story-wise besides like add tension. Well, I mean, I guess it does, but like I don't know. I feel like they could have done it slightly differently, where like that scene isn't in the show. Like I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of it, honestly. It just doesn't really feel very Star Warsy. Overall, I'm probably just gonna fast forward it every time I rewatch it. But sometimes there's just scenes like that in Star Wars where you just want to skip it. Well, I take that back. This is literally the only scene where I'd honestly want to fast forward it a little. But, and, like, it's done. It's just, like, it's not. You know what? I'm just gonna stop talking about it and move on. Anyway, so Cassian arrives at the planet. He sees the Star Destroyer in orbit. He then takes the TIE fighter, nose dives it, and, like, heads to go help his friend. We see that this one person is, like, I don't know. Maybe he betrayed Cassian's friends, or maybe Cassian's friend is only saying that to make him look innocent or something. Or I don't know. I'll have to rewatch it, but yeah. So anyway, like Biggs fights that one guy. He drops dead, and like the one guy's like, "Come out with your hands up!" And then like he gets shot by like the kid, and then like we see Mon Mothma dancing at her funeral, or not funeral. Why did I say that at the wedding? But I can only imagine that Mon Mothma is feeling that just kind of hopelessness, where it's just like everything's falling apart and like it just doesn't feel good. So yeah, we then see Mon Mothma's friend leaving the planet early for business, and we see Cinta basically being like he's basically like, "Where's the other driver?" And he's like, "I don't know. I was told to fill in for him." So like Luthen is having her spy on him, or maybe try to kill him. I don't know. All I know is that we see that Vel sees her and is like devastated that like they can't just talk to each other or something. But I don't know. This is what I mean. I'm very excited to see more of this. It's going to be very interesting. We then see Cassian shoot an Imperial transport help, going to get Biggs and like explodes, and then all the Imperials are like, "What just happened?" And then Cassian's friend hops on a speeder and bails, and the Imperials start shooting him. Then because like in the show we see the stormtroopers taking aim and they all keep missing, but then there's this freaking guy, this freaking stormtrooper has good aim for some reason. Uh, so basically, Cassian shoots stormtroopers, kills them. I like how he hits the silo and all the grain just suffocates all the stormtroopers. He then lands the TIE fighter and sees that his friend has been shot and is dead. So it's a very emotional scene, like, because we all know not all of Cassian's friends is going to make it out of this. So one down, two more to go, unfortunately. We see Cassian reunite with Bix, and he's like, "We have to go." So they get in the TIE fighter and head out, and then we see Vel is just very conflicted and just not doing good, and like we see like Cinta driving off with Mon Mothma's very shady friend, it turns out. And then we see Cassian and his two remaining friends fly off, and that's where the third episode ends. So yeah, all things considered, Andor Season 2 is off to a really great start. Minus the one very controversial scene, I will admit. I do kind of wish it wasn't in the season. But, you know, sometimes that happens. So, you know what? It's not worth obsessing over. Anyway, besides that one scene, Season 2 is off to a really great start. Like, the TIE Fighter action scenes, the tension, the wedding, Mon Mothma, like, the characters, like, everything about it is just really good so far. Seeing Director Krennic and, like, everything, like, about it is just really good. So, like, all things considered, Season 2 is off to a great start. Anyway, I hope you guys liked this video. May the Force be with you, and I'll see you all in the next one. So yeah, I'm very excited for the next episodes. It'll be a blast.